I would say my biggest fear is probably a common fear for a lot of women. It's that I would let insecurity keep me from making bold decisions, really kind of pushing for a seat at the table, and let those opportunities pass me because maybe I don't think I belong or I don't deserve the chance. Surround yourself with people who can remind you do belong here. You're doing a great job. Secondly, believe in yourself. Understand that you've gotten to the point that you are now because you are talented, you are skilled.
I think my why is probably just feeling like I make a difference, and helping and being of service to people is really fulfilling. It empowers me to continue through the day and try to show up and be my best.
We're on this earth to add value with our friends, with our family, with our church, with our coworkers. And when you no longer have value, then what else do you have?
Biggest fear for me is learning how to say no. I like to say yes, I don't like to say no, but if you say yes all the time, you can't say yes to the important things. So being able to say no to the right things, to say yes to the more important things.
We're raised to believe, I was raised to believe, you can do anything, right? And you can do everything. Cut yourself some slack, don't beat yourself up if you don't get it all right all the time, and be very deliberate about where you choose to spend your time.
My biggest fear is failure. But there's a lot of different versions of that, obviously. What do I do to compensate for that is to always learn, keep my mind open to learning. And if you look at it that way and yearn for it, just know we're always a work in progress.
The biggest way to overcome your fears is to talk about them. We don't do that enough, and I think that's why there's so much stigma related to mental health in our communities, because we don't talk about the things that scare us and we don't have uncomfortable conversations, which we have to be able to do in order to grow and overcome those fears.
The most meaningful part about my career is the impact that I can make on families' lives without having to be in that family's life for long term. It's knowing that the choices that I help these families make on their own are choices that they can be proud of, that they can stand by. To me, that defines success and happiness, and it brings me great joy to lead families in this way through this process.
My why as a pediatrician is really that every child is worth it. They're worth our investment in them. They're worth the community rallying behind them.
My biggest fear is letting down my community through our children, and it's genuine. It takes a village to raise a child, and that means it takes all of us to invest in their futures.
When I look back over my life and I want to think about my legacy, I want to make sure that I've made an impact, that I have done something to make a change. I've improved the space that I was in, and I have made and put a smile on someone's face and allowed them to reach their full potential in terms of who they are.
Probably the thing that's meant the most is being able to take the difficult cases and circumstances that I've had, but then go and help work to try to find solutions for those. I don't want to have regrets. I want to know that when my end comes, I have absolutely done everything I know to do to help people.
The beauty of getting older is that when you first start in your career, you are so focused on, let me show others what I can do. And then you get to a point where you're like, you know what? My job is to show others what other people can do. Working with some of our younger folks, I feel like I'm getting more from them. It's the older folks that need the mentoring from the younger ones.
I love what I do. But there are a lot of challenging moments throughout the day, and no day is ever the same. It's a minute by minute, new things happen every day. But at the end of the day, what keeps me going is definitely my family. If I'm not doing things with work, I'm totally doing things with family.
So my daughters Bradley and Bailey are my why. They suffered a devastating loss at an early age, and I could never replace their dad. But I do my best to provide for them, to give them great experiences, to make memories with them, especially model how it's like to be a mom and to have a successful career and meeting your responsibilities and obligations.
The most meaningful part of my career is the ability to influence individual lives and to make an impact in the community that I serve.
So the meaningful part of my career is that I helped be that bridge where people can cross and meet in the middle. And so I love that. I like playing a part in that. And then I like to see the magic happen between everyone else.
One message that I would have is that competition can breed success, but partnerships actually lead to success. We need to come together under those partnerships and really work side by side, because that's how we're going to be successful long term, is by coming together.
We overcome the fear by getting on the ground, by doing the work, by partnering with experts, by being in community, helping people access what they need, educating our community, and just banding together, really partnering.
The most meaningful part of my career, being that I'm not always talking about the most sexy topics. I'm talking about racial injustice. I'm talking about how do we create spaces of equity. But I think the meaningful things that pop up is when people say, I haven't thought about it like that. And that lets me know that I did something good, or I at least helped somebody think about something differently than what they would normally do.
My purpose stays the same, but it may be executed differently. So this was actually not my career. So that goes back to purpose. I was a voice for people, in TV news, and now I'm just a voice for people that are like my family now. So again, it's just executing and shifting, but the purpose still remaining the same.
I was raised by two parents who were and continue to be dedicated servant leaders. One of the things that came out was their strong belief in the value of education. In fact, they believe that education is really the great equalizer in this society. And access and opportunity for education is worth fighting for every day.
I learned years ago, again, referring back to civil rights movement because I grew up with it in Montgomery, the neighbors being Martin Luther King and Coretta King. We never felt fear because we were so insulated. My daughter happened to ask Mrs. Abernathy, Juanita Abernathy, was she ever afraid? And she said, you can't have faith and fear exist in the same place.
Everyone has something to contribute to make the state better, whether they are white, black, Indian, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, whomever. Everybody, boys, girls, women, men, the young, the old, we all can work together to make the state better.
Personally, I have been that under-resourced woman. When you go through challenges in your life, you empathize with others who might be going through the same thing. This is a quote for all women. You don't need permission to be empowered. You are empowered.